Okay, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who teach and rule well. Peace, blessings, salutations to the hopeful like Akim pushing this truth. All right. And Shalom to the multitude of sincere believers. Okay. This is the brother Karatazar of Men of Valley, Las Vegas Camp, coming back with another lesson. Lord willing, to be edifying and just speaking on, all right, starting here in Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter, the strangeness of our salvation, all right, which the physical deliverance of the elect, all right, will be via what the world calls a UFO or a UAP. All right, the scriptures describe it as a cloud, a roll, okay, so on and so forth. But we know them as the chariots of Israel. All right, our deliverance will be something that has been, described to us as a sci-fi movie. All right, and impossible. All right, wherein as the days of old, they knew that is the Lord's, army. Okay, as the angels would be the pilots of these so-called UFOs. All right, and that is described in Ezekiel, the first chapter. Okay. So Lord willing, this lesson be edifying unto the elect. This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, and verse 1. It says, "Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him and made no account of his labors." Right? And that is what, starting with the prophets on the highways and byways, all right, we're standing in the face of those that have afflicted us, all right, of our oppressors, starting with Esau, Edom, all right, and these other nations that have joined hand in hand unto him, all right, and they make no account of the labors that we do. But the scriptures tell us that, hey, our labor is not in vain, all right, and that there is a reward for, doing the work and serving Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai. Verse 2, it says, "When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they looked for." Okay, because this world describes these, aircrafts as, something out of this world. But they describe it with a alien or, some false, a tale, false thing that they have created as a lie to keep the truth from our people. And understanding that, hey, this power actually belongs to us and is going to be the vehicle of our salvation. All right. So when, this encounter actually happens and occurs, all right, it's going to actually, and when that deliverance happens, I don't know if it got cut off, but when the deliverance actually happens, people that are not gonna, outside of the elect will not know what these so-called UFOs are there for. All right, and that comes with the strangeness. All right, but it's also going to put that fear. All right, because they're going to be thinking it's an alien attack. Okay. And when people get beamed up, as the artwork on the screen, kind of shows what something may look like. a member of the elect may look like getting beamed up, getting taken. All right, as it says, Yahweh Shai was taken up into that cloud in the book of Acts, the first chapter. All right, it is going to be a strange thing for people to witness. It says, and they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit shall say within themselves, this was he whom we had sometimes in derision and a proverb of reproach. Okay, and that's what 2/3 of our people see our teaching, this teaching of the gospel as a reproach. All right, that's why they label the prophets as hate group, doomsday prophets. They put these false titles on us. All right, when we're in truly just doing the work of the Lord and preaching the gospel of peace. Okay, and these are going to be the same men that that these mockers and scoffers laughed in our face, despised the name of Yahweh B'Shem Yahshai and took no thought of it. These are going to be the same people that are going to receive this salvation. And it starts with the prophets, all right, and the sincere believers, all right, and that extends to the sincere believers of Yahweh B'Shem Yahshai, those who have been predestined for this salvation. It says, we accounted his life madness and his end to be without honor. How is he numbered among the children of Yahweh, of the Most High, and his lot is among the saints? Okay. And these are going to be the thoughts of, simultaneous to the destruction that's going on, is how are they getting saved, but, we still down here, because it's not what the world thinks that, remember in the first chapter, or first verse, it said that the righteous man, that's who's going to be saved. The righteous. All right. And those that have the faith in Yahweh Shai. Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai. Okay, so let's move on. That's going to be like the thought process of these 2/3 and heathens. Like, hey, how are these people the ones getting delivered? And they don't look like they belong to that fine machine, that because it's that chariot, is gonna be a terror unto the world, but it's gonna be glory, and the world ain't seen nothing like that since ancient times. All right. Let's say in Ezekiel that then they shall know, I believe it's Ezekiel 36, speaking about when certain men get spiritual power. Hey, these heathen going to wake up to the knowledge that, hey, we really them. Yeah, we the Most High's people. This is Zechariah 5 and 1. It says, then I turned and lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roll. And he said unto me, what seest thou? And I answered, I say, a flying roll, and the length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 10 cubits. All right, he's describing that chariot. All right. This one was smaller and could have been far away. It says, then said he unto me, this is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. Okay, so this chariot is described as a curse, and why is that? All right, because it's going to be used for that destruction, the destroying of this queendom, the destroying, and that, hey, the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. This is a heavenly device, or a heavenly spaceship that the Lord is going to use to take out the power, and rule. It says, "For everyone that shall stealeth shall be cut off as on this side, according to it, and everyone that sweareth shall be cut off as on that side, according to it." All right. And this curse, or as we're going to go into, has, laser beams. All right. As we go here in the book of Second Esdras, as it describes the Lord's chariot. All right. When Yahushua comes back, yes, he will return on a so-called UFO or UAP. This is Second Esdras 13 in verse 3. It says, "And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven." And the thousands of heaven, are referring to the angels. As it said, as Yahushua told Pontius Pilate, "Hey, if I could call a legion of angels right now." All right. It said, so he's going to return with them. It says, "And when he turned his," and that's going to be seen as a curse unto the world. It says, and when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him. Okay, and that's talking about the inhabitants of this world. All right. And how, as, how a chariot moves and is driven, all right, is pretty much like through the Spirit. Okay. Ezekiel, the first chapter, describes where the Spirit goeth, it follows, roughly paraphrasing. It says, "And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burnt that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it feeleth the fire." Okay, and that is speaking of those laser beams coming out of that chariot. Okay. And to show you the type of it's like World War War of the Worlds, the movie with the remake that had Tom Cruise in it. When he came back and he was running from those chariots, he came back, and when he got back into his house in safety, he had all that dust on his face. Now this is a description of that type of power, or that type of laser beam. This is I don't know why I went that far. Saki. This is Second Esdras 16 and right in 11. It says, "The Lord shall threaten, and who shall not be utterly beaten to powder at his presence." Okay. I think it also says it in 13. That's a description of the not the missiles, the laser beams. All right. Instantly, if you get touched by that fire, you're gonna turn straight into dust. This is back in Second Esdras 13 and verse in verse 11. I'm just going to get straight to the point. It says, "And they were all mixed together, the blast of the fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest." And this is describing, that laser fire. "And fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burnt them up, everyone, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid." Okay. In verse 12, it reads, after saw I the same man come down from the mountain, all right, that mountain is the chariot, that man being Yahweh Shai, and call unto him another and other peaceable multitude, that being Israel. So, destruction and calling up the elect. All right. That's what we're going to get into. These, because what does it say in the book of Exodus? Yahweh Bashim Shai is a Lord of war. And he's building up, the times that we're coming into for this great and final showdown. All right. The destruction of Babylon the Great, which will, be destroyed via thermonuclear fire, but, in those missiles during World War III, but also, we're going to be visited by the Lord's army as well. All right, and if you're not if you're not predestined to the elect, this is what you will partake in. This is the punishment the Lord is going to have you partake in. Okay, but on the flip side, that salvation, and the glory of it is going to be seen. And the elect will receive it. All right, those worthy of Yahweh Bashim Shai's promise. This is Isaiah 26 and 20. It says, "Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers, and shut thy doors about. Hide thyself as it were a little moment, until the indignation be overpassed." And indignation is the righteous judgment. All right, righteous fury. Okay, see, this world is going to be visited through Yahweh Bashim Shai's anger, all right, and judgments. Okay, so the Lord said, "Hey, enter into thy chambers," and thy chambers could be those, or those chariots as well. And the only way, to avoid the destruction that is about to occur here is that divine salvation. Okay, and we're gonna be saved, right on time. Okay, the missiles are gonna be coming. Brothers and sisters of the elect are going to be, taken up in these chariots of Israel. Okay, so with that, Lord willing, it was an edifying lesson. I want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakodash, Shalom to the elect.